Liz Alston has been a member of Mother Emanuel AME Church for over 50 years, and this week marks 1 year since the tragedy at the church. In this special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with her one-on-one. Liz, it is so good to see you again.
It's good to see you too, Quintin.
I really appreciate this.
It is my extreme pleasure.
Thank you. You know, the last time I spoke with you was over the phone, and I was talking to you about something personal, but you told me you had a luncheon with Emanuel AME survivor Polly Shepherd.
I did.
And I was thinking, what was it like to be in her presence a year later?
Well, I see Polly quite often, and she's taking to me and I'm taking to her. I've always known her because we've worked on a number of committees, but even in a lot of gatherings, Polly, you know, she kind of gravitates to me and I gravitate to her, because after the incident happened, that's how I knew what scripture they were taking, because I called Polly, and I know she got a call, but she said, "Oh, that's Liz, I'll pick up." So I've always had a great rapport with all of the 9. I think just about 2 of them I did not know very well, but I had a relationship with many of them, and Polly was extremely special.
Yeah. 1 year later, I know this is a strange question, but where is Mother Emanuel's faith right now?
You know, Mother Emanuel's faith is probably, it's a value judgment, where it is. The people that I talk to, their faith is growing. If I am a member of Mother Emanuel, and I used myself as an example, and this is a question that I get. I think that grieving, forgiveness is a process. And I'm thinking today is probably the 259th or 260th day. I think that given all the elements, Mother Emanuel is right on time.
June 17th, I was at home that night. I remember it was a hot, hot day, and it was just, something was just strange. And then later that night, the tragedy happened. I heard about it on Twitter, and immediately, I never told you this, but I called your house.
You did?
I called your house to make sure that you were okay and you were not there.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm an early to bed and early to rise.
Okay.
So most people know I go to bed around 8 o'clock. So there was a possibility that I had already gone to sleep, but then I got a call and saying that there was a shooting at your church. And I'm saying, oh my goodness. Well, I didn't want to sound routinely, because you hear about it all the time, and it's becoming the new normal. So I'm saying, oh my goodness, and I turned on Channel 5, and here again I saw Raphael James, and he was talking about, indeed there was a shooting at Emanuel. And I'm saying, oh my goodness. And I don't want to be a Monday morning quarterback, but he did sound not quite upbeat. And I could sense something was wrong. And then he let slip that the coroner came on. Then I knew that there was at least 1 fatality. And then my husband came in and said, Al came in and said, but they got Pinckney, they got Ira, they got Reverend Simmons, they got Sharonda, they got Susie. And the rest of the names became a blur. I just could not believe that these people had been killed in our church fellowship hall during Bible study. It is still something that is unbelievable.
It was, that night I couldn't even sleep. Didn't even go to sleep. It was just hard to go to sleep, Liz. I'm wondering, what was it like to be you as a member of Mother Emanuel, because you've been there for over 50 years now.
Correct. And it was, like I said, unbelievable that someone would come into the house of the Lord
Right.
to shoot innocent people without any known reason. I still can't believe it, and the year has evaporated so quickly. Today is, we're just, 5 days out?
Right.
And I just still can't believe the violence, the hatred, the senselessness of killing, like President Obama says, 9 good, ordinary people, in my opinion, as far as I know, have done no one any harm. And their only, quote, crime was being black in the eyes of the shooter.
And I went back and did a little bit of research, and I didn't even notice, but he basically said something to the effect, and this is all alleged, but he basically said that I'll give you all something to pray about. And that touched me. When you heard that, what was going to your mind?
I'm saying I still don't know that someone who was so young could be filled with so much hatred and animosity for another human being without any reason. But, this is America. Racism is rampant. I just read in today's paper, because of the Emanuel shooting, that racial divide is still very much evident in our society. So prayer, I suppose, is the only vehicle that I could mention that would probably soften the hearts of people, making them realize that all this violence, hatred, killing, lack of diversity is harming our country, and certainly lessening the chance of many of these people going into the pearly gates during their transition period.
Let's talk about the Rowan Memorial. As you talk about people, I know that you guys received, I guess, thousands and thousands of flowers and cards and bears. As we sit here right now, Liz, what is the biggest thing that sticks out in your mind when you think of it right now?
Right now, that's an interesting question, because had you asked it on yesterday, it would be different. But today in church, there was a prisoner from Tennessee, or was it Tennessee, that gave the church a painting from a prisoner. And I have, being the chairman of the memorabilia committee, we have received over 6,000 items. And this was one, and the family came, and the brother and the sister, and that was presented to the church. And I, along with Reverend Clark, received it. It was really touching, that picture that came. It wasn't Tennessee, it was from the Department of Public Safety from the state of North Carolina, that they presented this today. So every day, every Sunday, there are heartwarming gifts, outpouring expressions of love that come into Mother Emanuel, and certainly it warms my heart, and it is just, I can't find a word that would express my feeling at the moment. Love and gratitude to millions of people around the world, not only in America, but throughout the world, have stopped on our doorsteps because of this.
Speaking of which, fill in the blanks, Reverend Goff has done.
Reverend Goff brought the church through that transition period. The massacre occurred on the 17th. He was there on the 18th. I think that his leadership was profound. I felt that he kept the congregation together, because I admire the trait in him being the presiding elder and the interim pastor. And being, he was very strong, he was eloquent, he kept the church together for 7 months. And I felt that his contribution was stability, some degree of continuity, within the congregation, and being a AME person, he was familiar with the hierarchy of the church, and he was able to move in and mobilize the congregation at a time, and like I said before, and I was at the church every day. I saw all of the things that came in, how he maintained the leadership of 33 churches as well as Emmanuel. Most people felt that it was probably one of the biggest tasks that any minister in this country or throughout the global enterprise could have done any better.
Reverend Betty Dees Clark will do.
Reverend Betty Dees Clark came in, and being the first female pastor after 33 tries, a lot of people said they finally got it right.
The Nobel Peace Prize nomination.
Oh, wow. That, I think that was a group in Indiana that came and submitted the name to the to the Nobel Peace Prize Commission. And certainly, as the church's archivist and historian, was one of the authors. And of course, our book is called Morning Grace. And herein we had various topics. And ironically, my section to write was that race still matters.
Oh, wow.
And so, and it does, because you will find in 2016, you're talking about an historic church, which is 200 years old.
Yes.
And at the same time, our present edifice is 125 years old. So therefore, you find the sustainability of the church and of our congregation, even though I talked about the ministers, but I feel that the perseverance of the congregation, a forgiving congregation, a congregation that has welcomed the world at our doorsteps, is something to say about the legacy, about the strength, the forbearance of the parishioners. Every Sunday morning when I walk in and look at the people, I feel but there is a kinship. There's that camaraderie that I feel for Mother Emanuel, being the oldest AME Church south of the Mason-Dixon line. I feel that we have lived up to God's given promise.
That is awesome. Describe to me the following in one word. Reverend Clemente Pinckney.
God-giving.
Taiwan's Sanders.
He was the younger, so I was thinking that he would probably have been a potential warrior.
Myra Thompson.
Grace.
Susie Jackson.
Love.
Reverend DePayne Middleton Doctor.
Didn't know her very well, but I would probably say that she had promise.
Yeah, because I heard that from someone that she actually joined the church maybe a couple of months before the tragedy.
March.
Yeah. Sharonda Coleman Singleton.
Oh, beauty.
Cynthia Hurd.
Oh, probably I would say studious.
Reverend Daniel.
Booming.
Ethel Lance.
Oh, warm, friendly.
Tell me this, Liz. I mean, you guys have weathered a tremendous incident. Well, where does Mother Emanuel go next in your mind?
In my mind, I think that Mother Emanuel is going to fulfill a promise that has not yet been reached. I feel that it was divine intervention for such a tragedy to occur at a warm, loving, historic, fruitful church, my church. And sometimes I wonder, why was my church chosen? And I think that the purpose of religion is to answer life mysteries. So it is a mystery. But I feel that Emmanuel is going to be on the forefront for racial diversity, probably healing the racial divide. And even though the paper today says that we still have this racial divide, I think probably 360 days is a short time to achieve what America has not achieved in the 300 years or more that we've been here,
Right.
or that the Civil War, 150 years, the healing is still going on. So, which means that 360 days is a very short time
Right.
to achieve the love, the camaraderie, the forgiveness, the healing. So we are still in the healing process. And I think that Emmanuel is well on the way.
That is so awesome. Well, Liz Alston, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
It has been a pleasure, Quintin, and certainly Godspeed to everyone who watches this.
Thank you. Thank you for your support of Quintin's Close-Ups. You watch all the time.
Thank you, I do.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.